Okay, in this screen we're going to be looking at site of origin, and we're going to be doing it on the hub and spoke. So here we have the hub and here we have the spokes. So all of this work will be inside the hub and the spokes. Now sometimes inside the hub and spokes you'll see us use the phrase CE2 and sometimes C2, but this is where we're working on this screen. Okay, so what's the issue with site of origin? Well, a hub and a spoke VPN has a couple of problems. On all of the routers, we're going to be configuring set routing options, autonomous system 54591 loops 3. And this is because routes are going to be coming into and out of the hub, and BGP just doesn't like to do that. Okay, so these two spokes are connected on 64600, but also so is this spoke. And what this means is that BGP's natural aversion to sending routes to where they're sourced means that these routes will not end up arriving correctly at CE25. So what we're going to do the AS override and set routing instances, C2 spoke, protocols BGP, group CE, so we're deep into the BGP inside the routing instance, AS override. And what will happen here is that as routes come into these routers, they're going to have the 646 removed and replaced with the 54591. Okay, so with the AS override, now we can get routes from one spoke to the other across the iBGP. However, we can start to suffer from loops as routes come from a site and then back. And that's where site of origin comes in. We're going to mark a unique site of origin on this particular site and also a unique one on the hub site because again that's dual connected. And then as the routes come in, they'll be marked for that site of origin. They'll go up to the hub. On the VRF import on the way back in on the second PE at the same site, we'll be filtering and removing routes with the original site of origin. So here we are on the hub site. We've defined the community. We've exported it out the hub because of course all the exports come out of the hub. And then on the import on the spoke, which is how the hub site operates, it exports on the hub VRF, it imports on the spoke. On the import from the spoke, we've got a new term, reject origin, from protocol BGP, the community C2S1 origin reject, and we're placing that before the first term, which is the acceptance of the C2 spoke. And as you remember, C2 spoke are set by all of the spokes. This is how the routes arrive back at the hub, and this will prevent routes looping back up into the hub. Okay. And then here we are at router 4 and we have exactly the same mechanism. So on router 4 and router 5, set policy options community, C2S2 origin, members origin, and we're ending with a 2 because these guys are in site 2. They're calling this site 1, this site 2. Okay, so what are we doing? Well, we're adding to the spoke export the new origin, and then we're going to be blocking that new origin on the spoke import. Remember, there's a single VRF here. It's got an export, it's got an import. Now, on the export, we can just add this community on straight away. It's an add, not a set. On the import, we have to make sure this goes before term 1. So we need to use the same technique of insert this term before term 1. So how about this last site? Are we going to set a site of origin here? Well, strangely, no. The AS override allows these routes to get to this particular site and these routes to get to this site, and the AS override was causing a problem with these routes looping via the main hub and also the hub looping as well. So because there's a single connection to this particular site, we want these routes to go across. So this is dual connected and this isn't, and so this doesn't require marking an origin. Also, this site doesn't really need to be aware of the origins for the simple reason that it's going to be accepting them, so it's not an issue on that particular site.